and that the higher mind will take what it needs. And if you're saying that you have this specific vision for something, you might be actually limiting your potential, and you should just allow what is natural to come to you, because your higher mind will supposedly potentially create something far beyond what you thought you were capable of or what you were initially trying to execute. There's certain things which I think that applies to, but not everything. But as always, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. That just about does it for today's video. I hope that you've enjoyed it. If you did, please drop a like on the video and subscribe. It really goes a long way to help out the channel. And if you didn't know, I post a video every single day at 8 PM UK time. And we also have a Discord server where the discussion continues after the video ends. But in the meantime, stay well, stay safe, and stay curious. Until next time.